Welcome to the Great Indian AI Podcast channel.
Today we are diving deep into the Bhagavad Gita,
Oh, go ahead.
specifically chapter 3,
All right.
which is often called Karma Yoga.
Interesting.
Now, if you're out there thinking ancient scriptures,
Right.
what's in it for me?
Yeah.
Stick around, because this deep dive,
Yeah.
it just might surprise you.
Mm.
We're going to be talking about selfless action and purpose, and how even like the smallest things you do
Okay.
can connect to something bigger.
I see.
Like how those tasks that can feel really mundane, like paying bills, making dinner,
Right.
even just breathing,
Yeah.
can become like these acts of intention and meaning.
I like that.
So if you're ready to kind of unlock some of this ancient wisdom that might just be the key to a more fulfilling life,
Okay.
you are in the right place.
Great.
Let's get started.
It's fascinating how this chapter picks up where the previous ones left off.
Oh,
We've heard about renunciation.
Yeah.
We've heard about action.
and now chapter 3 tackles this confusion about which path is best for achieving liberation.
So it's kind of like those internal debates
Exactly.
that we all have, right?
Yeah.
Should I let go?
Right.
And this chapter is going to offer us some clarity.
Exactly. Chapter 3 examines sakam karma,
Yeah.
actions with desire, and nishkam karma,
Okay.
actions without desire,
Right.
to shed light on this very dilemma.
Interesting.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
You're giving a gift.
Yeah.
If you're constantly focused on how that other person will react, on what you'll get back,
Right.
that's sakam karma.
I see.
But if you give with no strings attached,
Yeah.
with pure intention,
Okay.
that's nishkam karma,
I see.
the essence of selfless action.
That's a really helpful way to put it.
Yeah.
So is this chapter saying that the path to liberation is all about just doing things with no expectation of reward?
Well,
How does that even work in the real world?
Well, the Bhagavad Gita uses the example of King Janaka,
Okay.
a ruler who attained liberation despite being a king.
Okay.
It emphasizes that it's not about the actions themselves,
Oh.
but the attitude behind them. You can be successful, you can fulfill your duties,
Yeah.
but the key lies in not being attached to the outcomes.
Okay, so King Janaka,
Yeah,
a king who achieved liberation.
right.
That's a pretty compelling example.
Absolutely.
It shows that this isn't just some abstract concept.
Exactly.
But how realistic is it for us regular folks?
Hmm.
I mean, we have jobs, families, responsibilities.
Sure.
How do we cultivate that kind of detachment while juggling, everyday life?
Well, the Bhagavad Gita offers guidance on how to walk this path.
Okay.
Talks about svadharma, your unique duty, your purpose. Think
Right.
of it as your personal calling,
Right.
the thing you're naturally good at,
Yeah.
and how you can use that to contribute to the world.
Right.
Like a musician expressing their soul through music,
Yeah.
a teacher inspiring young minds,
Yeah.
even a chef creating delicious meals with love and care.
I see.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your actions
Okay.
are in alignment with your inherent nature and with a larger purpose.
So it's about recognizing that everyone has this unique role to play
Exactly.
in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
That's quite a beautiful concept.
Yeah.
But the Gita also emphasizes doing your svadharma
Yes.
without personal desires, right?
Absolutely.
How do we navigate that tension
It's a good question.
between pursuing our passions
Yeah.
and letting go of the attachment to the results?
Imagine a chariot driver
Okay.
skillfully controlling the horses,
Right.
ensuring they stay on track. In the same way, the Bhagavad Gita encourages us to control our senses,
I see.
to not be swayed by fleeting desires,
Right.
even as we're fulfilling our duties.
Okay.
This doesn't mean suppressing our passions, but rather channeling them in a way that serves a higher purpose.
Okay.
It's about finding that delicate balance between engagement and detachment.
This reminds me of the struggle we all face
Yeah.
with staying focused on our goals
Right.
while also learning to accept
Right.
whatever outcome comes our way.
Exactly.
Like that age-old advice of, give your best,
Yeah.
but don't get hung up on winning or losing.
Right.
So are you saying that the key to liberation lies in finding that balance?
Yes. The Bhagavad Gita advocates for a balanced approach. It's not about renouncing the material world entirely,
Right.
but rather shifting our perspective on it. It's about understanding that material possessions
Yeah.
and sensual pleasures,
Right.
they're temporary.
Okay.
And true fulfillment comes from aligning our actions with something bigger than ourselves.
This is where it gets really intriguing for me.
Oh.
The Bhagavad Gita takes it a step further and introduces this concept of yajna,
Yeah.
which often translates to sacrifice. What does that mean in the context of karma yoga?
Think of yajna as transforming even the most ordinary actions into offerings.
Okay.
Like every breath you take, every meal you prepare, every task you complete
Right, yeah.
can be seen as this sacred act
Right.
when performed with the right intention.
Oh,
It's about shifting your mindset from doing chores
I see.
to making an offering.
Okay.
A subtle but powerful shift.
That's a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
So it's not about grand gestures
Right.
or elaborate rituals,
No.
but about approaching everyday life with a sense of sacredness and purpose.
Precisely. Even the simplest act, like taking a walk in nature,
Yeah.
can become a yajna when done with mindfulness and gratitude.
Okay.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and seeing the divine in everything we do.
But how do we know if we're truly acting selflessly?
Ow.
The Bhagavad Gita talks about pretenders,
Oh, yeah.
people who appear detached,
Right.
but are still clinging to material possessions.
Yeah.
How do we avoid falling into that trap?
That's a good question.
How can we truly cultivate inner renunciation?
Yeah.
If you're just joining us,
Okay.
you're listening to the Great Indian AI Podcast channel,
All right.
and we'll be back after a short message with more insights on this fascinating topic.
It's a great question, and the Bhagavad Gita doesn't shy away from it. True inner renunciation isn't about outward appearances or rituals. It's about the state of your mind. You could live in a cave with just a loincloth, but if your thoughts are consumed by desires for wealth and comfort, that's not true renunciation. Conversely, you could be surrounded by abundance, yet remain detached, focused on something larger than yourself.
So it's about letting go of the internal clutter, those attachments that weigh us down,
Yes.
rather than just the external stuff. But in today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with messages to buy more, achieve more, be more, how can we cultivate that inner peace and contentment?
The Bhagavad Gita emphasizes cultivating awareness of our ego and its influence on our actions. It's like holding up a mirror to ourselves and asking, why am I doing this? Is it out of a sense of service, or am I seeking validation, praise, or material gain? It's about constantly checking our motivations and making sure they're aligned with our svadharma and with the spirit of selfless action.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like catching yourself when you're about to do something out of ego or for external validation
Right.
and choosing a different path,
Yeah.
a path that's more aligned with your true self.
Exactly.
But let's be honest, life isn't always smooth sailing. How does the Bhagavad Gita address those inevitable ups and downs, those moments when maintaining equanimity feels impossible?
Yeah. Well, the Bhagavad Gita reminds us that the material world is constantly changing. Nothing is permanent. Pleasure and pain, success and failure, they're all part of the natural ebb and flow of life. Understanding this transient nature of things helps us detach from outcomes and find stability within ourselves regardless of external circumstances.
So it's about accepting the impermanence of things.
Yes.
And recognizing that getting too attached to any particular outcome
Right.
will only lead to suffering.
Exactly.
That's a powerful lesson,
Right.
but not an easy one to put into practice. Do you have any advice on how we can cultivate that kind of detachment in our daily lives?
One practical approach the Bhagavad Gita offers is the practice of shraddha, often translated as faith.
Okay.
It's not blind faith, but a deep trust in the wisdom of the scriptures, the guidance of wise individuals, and ultimately in the divine order of things. It's about recognizing that there's a larger plan at play even when we can't see it.
That makes me think of the saying, let go and let God.
Mm-hmm.
It's about surrendering to something bigger than ourselves
Yeah.
and having faith that things will work out as they're meant to.
Yeah.
But doesn't that contradict the idea of taking action and fulfilling our svadharma?
Not at all. Faith and action go hand in hand. Faith gives us the strength and courage to act even when faced with challenges. It's like a guiding light that helps us navigate the uncertainties of life. The Bhagavad Gita emphasizes that by having faith in the process, following the guidance of wise individuals, and staying true to our svadharma, we gradually progress on the spiritual path.
So it's not about passively waiting for things to happen,
Right.
but about taking inspired action,
Exactly.
guided by faith and a clear understanding of our purpose.
Yeah.
That's a really empowering message. It makes me think that even the most challenging situations can become opportunities for growth and transformation, when approached with the right mindset.
Exactly. And this is where the concept of yajna comes into play again. By offering all of our actions, even our struggles and setbacks, as offerings to a higher purpose, we transform them into opportunities for spiritual growth. It's about seeing the divine in everything, even the difficult stuff.
That's a really beautiful way to look at it. It's about shifting our perspective from, why is this happening to me, to what can I learn from this, and how can I use this experience to grow?
Precisely. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that true happiness and fulfillment don't come from external circumstances, but from within. By cultivating inner peace, aligning our actions with our svatdharma, and offering everything as a yajna to a higher purpose, we can find lasting joy and meaning in our lives, regardless of what life throws our way.
This deep dive into karma yoga has been incredibly insightful. It's amazing how these ancient teachings can still be so relevant to our modern lives.
Indeed. The wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita is timeless. It offers a roadmap for living a more purposeful, fulfilling, and meaningful life, a life that's not defined by external circumstances, but by our inner state of being.
If you're enjoying this deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita, be sure to check out the Great Indian AI Podcast channel for more episodes exploring these timeless teachings. Now, before we wrap our discussion on karma yoga, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned so far. We've talked about the importance of selfless action, finding our unique purpose, and cultivating inner peace and detachment. We've explored the concepts of swadharma, yajna, and shraddha, and how they can guide us on the path to liberation.
We've also discussed how the Bhagavad Gita encourages us to control our senses, avoid falling into the trap of being pretenders, and embrace the transient nature of the material world. All of this can seem like a lot to take in, but the beauty of karma yoga is that it's a journey, not a destination. It's about taking small steps every day to align our actions with our highest selves and with a larger purpose.
So as we move towards the final part of our deep dive, let's keep in mind that even the smallest actions can have a ripple effect. By choosing to act with intention, purpose, and a spirit of service, we can make a positive difference in the world, starting with ourselves. Welcome back to the Great Indian AI Podcast channel as we conclude our deep dive into karma yoga.
Okay.
Let's bring it all together.
All right.
We've been unpacking some pretty profound ideas from Chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita.
We have.
But how do we actually live this philosophy? It's one thing to understand these concepts intellectually,
Yeah.
but how do we actually integrate them into our daily lives?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The Bhagavad Gita doesn't just offer abstract theories. It provides a practical framework for action. It reminds us that every moment presents an opportunity to practice karma yoga. It's not about waiting for some grand event or special occasion. It's about making conscious choices in the here and now.
So it's about those little everyday decisions, right? How we respond to a stressful situation, how we interact with people around us, how we approach our work.
Right.
All those seemingly small things can become acts of karma yoga.
Exactly. Think about it this way. Let's say you're stuck in traffic and you're feeling frustrated and impatient. Instead of letting those emotions take over, you can choose to practice patience, offering that frustration as a yajna, a sacrifice. Or you can use that time to practice mindfulness, focusing on your breath and cultivating a sense of inner peace.
It's like turning those everyday annoyances into opportunities for spiritual growth.
Exactly.
It's a shift in perspective, isn't it?
It is.
Seeing those challenges not as obstacles, but as stepping stones on the path.
Precisely. The Bhagavad Gita emphasizes that it's not about avoiding challenges or trying to create a perfect life free of difficulties. It's about how we respond to those challenges. It's about finding that inner strength and resilience to navigate the ups and downs with grace and equanimity.
And that's where the practice of shraddha, or faith, comes in, right?
Absolutely.
Having that trust that even when things are tough, there's a larger plan at play, and we're not alone on this journey.
Absolutely. Faith isn't about denying reality or pretending that everything is rosy. It's about acknowledging the challenges, but choosing to approach them with a sense of hope and a belief that we have the inner resources to overcome them. It's about remembering that we're connected to something much greater than ourselves, a source of strength and wisdom that we can always tap into.
That's a really comforting thought. Knowing that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, there's a deeper order, a guiding force that's always with us.
And that's the beauty of karma yoga. It's not just a philosophy, it's a way of life. It's about aligning our thoughts, words, and actions with our highest selves and with a larger purpose. It's about finding that sweet spot between action and acceptance, engagement and detachment, effort and surrender.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into karma yoga, what's the one key takeaway you would leave our listeners with? What's that one nugget of wisdom that they can carry with them as they navigate their own journeys?
If I had to sum it up in one sentence, it would be this. Choose to act with intention, purpose, and a spirit of service, offering all of your actions as a yajna to a higher purpose, and you will find true fulfillment and meaning in your life.
That's a beautiful message to end on. And for all of you listening, we hope this deep dive into karma yoga has sparked something within you, a desire to live more consciously, to find purpose in your actions, and to connect to something larger than yourselves. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the Great Indian AI podcast channel for more deep dives into thought-provoking subjects. Until next time, may your journey be filled with purpose, meaning, and the joy of selfless service.